Hello and welcome to the Market Advantage podcast. I'm Big Italy 42. He's Jason Gilbo at JGilbo11. Talking about some pricing discrepancies on a seven-game slate between FanDuel and DraftKings. And there aren't a lot of them as far as popular plays, but starting off with one guy who is going to see a nice bump if Brad Beal sits out. John Wall, $9,500 on FanDuel, $9,000 on DraftKings. He's a guy that I'll be throwing into tournaments. Not sure at that price I'll be playing him in cash games. You got to try to get some balance here, and if I'm paying, roughly $10K for somebody in cash games tonight, it's going to be Kevin Durant.
Yeah, I'm with you there. Do like Wall. I mean, we said earlier this has a high total. I mean, it's insane. Both teams, their pace, they rank in the top 10, so it's just going to be high flying. I think it's going to be a fun game to watch overall, but John Wall, he's pretty pricey, but I mean, that floor has been there this season, but so have guys like Lowry, Thomas, who are a bit cheaper. So I think I'm kind of with you and going more balanced there.
Yeah. Kemba Walker, another guy facing off against Ricky Rubio in Minnesota. $7,200 on FanDuel, $66 on DraftKings. He's not a guy who has been great this season, but he's been good. He's been a fine high floor target, really 25 to 35 fantasy points right around just about every game. So he's probably one of your better cash game options as far as point guards go when you factor in price, especially 6.6 on DraftKings. If you get around 30 points, that's a nice floor to get yourself there.
Yeah, I really like him on DK tonight at that price tag. And like you said, the floor it's very safe. We haven't seen that upside. We know Kemba Walker has that upside, but we haven't seen it. It's probably going to be tough to see in that Charlotte offense, who it's a bit slower paced. So, tonight could be a night to do it. Facing up against Minnesota, they like to push the ball as well.
Yeah, definitely a guy that I'll have some exposure to. And this guy, next up, has a nice price difference of only $600. Jordan Clarkson, $6,300 on FanDuel, $57 on DraftKings. He's a guy with a very low floor, but when you factor in price, he's got a nice high ceiling as well. Had a 30 real point game against Denver. Not a guy that does a lot as far as peripheral stats, but, it's not a short slate, but a shorter slate. He's the type of guy I'll mix into a couple GPPs because if he gets hot, he certainly has upside. It's not a great matchup against Miami, but, somebody needs to score for the Lakers, and Kobe Bryant isn't getting it done.
Yeah, I could actually see him coming off the bench and, even more so tonight because they're probably going to be from behind. That first unit for Miami, very good defensively, but, second, fairly average. So if he does come off, it's probably a sneaky play.
Yeah, I like that. And then Jared Bayless, of course, with Mike Carter-Williams sitting out again. He's a guy that he comes with a lot of risk as far as his low floor, but at his current price tag, $3,700 on FanDuel, $45 on DraftKings is a little more than I'd like to pay, but does have two 30-plus fantasy points on FanDuel in his last four. The other two were 13 and 13, though, so keep in mind he has a really low floor, but if you're looking for upside in GPPs, hit more than 10x salary in his last game with that 41 point. You're obviously not chasing that, but when you have the potential for a game like that, if that cheap of a price tag, it's definitely a guy you need to consider in your tournaments.
Yeah, comparing the one here with Bayless, it's $4,500 on DK, and Ish Smith is only $4,700 on DK. So if you're going that value route, I definitely prefer Ish Smith. But for a cheap guy in FanDuel, there's a pretty good difference from Ish Smith and Bayless there.
Yeah. Next up, Avery Bradley, $5,800 on FanDuel, $46 on DraftKings. Still nice and cheap there. And he's the guy who he's known more as a defender, but aside from that dud against Washington where they didn't really need him to do anything, it was a beatdown from the start. He mixed in three straight really good games before that, 13-5-3, 18-4-3, 21-5-3. So he's a guy, especially on DraftKings, that I'll be considering quite a bit because 4.6K just seems too low for a guy who's going to play about 30 minutes and, is especially with Marcus Smart out, going to see a decent amount of minutes. And, he's a guy that can score. He can do a lot.
Yeah, I like him there, too. Just because shooting guard is not a great position tonight, it's pretty ugly. And, with Giannis not being shooting guard eligible over on DK, it makes it really weak. So Bradley's a nice pivot point down to a lower price tier.
Yeah. Andrew Wiggins, a guy who contributes just about zero in peripheral categories for the most part. 5 and 4 rebounds and assists in his last game was good. This is a guy who started off the season really, really slow, a bunch of disappointing performances in a row, and good matchups, especially that one against the Lakers. 9 points and 1 rebound in 29 minutes, but his last two games, in less than ideal matchups. I know Chicago and Atlanta overall solid defensive teams, but 31 and 33 real points in his last two. His usage rate is over 32%. So, I mean, he's got a huge usage rate this season. And facing off against Charlotte, who's a fine defensive team, but they've made it pretty clear over the past couple games. He's taken 49 shots. So, I mean, he is the offense now. And at 6,100 on DraftKings at shooting guard, 69 at small forward on FanDuel. He's the guy that I'll have in quite a few tournaments. I mean, he's definitely seems like he's in the zone right now.
Yeah, I mean, we saw that upside last season towards the end of the stretch there when he was logging big minutes and putting up points at will there. And we know what he can do. I mean, this guy's going to be a top-tier player for a long time. And he's finally starting to show that here after a tough few games to start the season. But, I mean, I'll take advantage of that 6,100 on DK.
Yeah, me too. Al Jefferson, another guy, 73 on FanDuel, 65 on DraftKings. He's a guy who's been consistent. He's only shown upside really in the one game against Dallas. 31 points and 9 rebounds in 27 minutes. So he's a guy, he could be an elite offensive center. Not a guy that's known for his defense, but he gives you a decent floor. And he's one of those guys that's just always really under-owned. I mean, we get our guys like tonight, you got us on Whiteside. You get Greg Monroe, Rudy Gobert. All these guys are the guys that everyone looks for when they go cheap. And he kind of just falls right in the middle there. And it always seems to have low ownership. But seems to be, a virtual lock for about 25 fantasy points each night.
Yeah, I mean, he's been a pretty good fantasy points per minute guy. The minutes haven't always been there, which is what we've seen because he's gone from 30, 27 to 21. So that's a little scary for me. But I mean, at this price on DK, I don't have a problem risking it there.
Yeah, another similar player with a low floor but upside is Roy Hibbert. I don't like the matchup at all against Hassan Whiteside tonight, but Hassan Whiteside has been turning the ball over at a ridiculously high rate as well. So Roy Hibbert's a guy, he's had 12 fantasy point games. He's had a 37. He had a 32. 5,400 on FanDuel, 47 on DraftKings. I think he's a guy you throw in your tournaments. I don't know that I ever have or ever will trust Roy Hibbert in a cash game. But, I mean, it's not a bad matchup for him overall. Because of his size, he can compete. But I just worry about the athleticism because Hassan Whiteside is a million times the athlete that Roy Hibbert is.
Yeah, I mean, if we're looking at GPPs, probably paying up for guys like Anthony Davis, Durant, we try to want to get those at least 3 top-tier players, and you probably have to go cheap elsewhere. So, I mean, Hibbert, definitely probably worth a look there. I mean, like you said, Whiteside's been turning the ball over quite a bit. They both can block shots, at ease there, but I don't know. Hibbert's always been a tough one to call.
Yeah, I'm not a Roy Hibbert fan, but I am a fan of throwing cheap guys with upside into GPPs, so that's about what that is. Rudy Gobert, guy who has not scored 10 actual points in a single game this season, but has at least 9 rebounds in every game. His block numbers, 3, 7, 3, 4, 3, and 4. Gives you a nice floor there, and we know Rudy Gobert has the upside as well. Facing off against a Cleveland team that should have LeBron James tonight. He's questionable. He says he's going to play. But outside of LeBron James and Kevin Love, this is not a good offensive team at all. So Rudy Gobert in a slow pace here should see a decent amount of rebounds, should have plenty of opportunity for block shots. And even if he doesn't have opportunity for block shots, he'll find opportunity because he always seems to block 3 or 4 shots. So he's a guy that, due to his price, he's 7,800 on FanDuel, 7,000 on DraftKings. Not a guy that a lot of people throw in tournaments, but I think he's going to be pretty low owned tonight, especially considering he's near that Hassan Whiteside price.
Yeah, I'm with you there. Stifle Tower always been one of my favorite players, mainly because he won me some nice money last season. But, he's been rock solid. I mean, you look at the block numbers, the rebound numbers are there. Yeah, he only scores 7-8 points a game, but, I mean, the guy hovers around 33 DraftKings points a night. I mean, that's pretty solid floor for just scoring 7-8 points. It's crazy.
Yeah, one more center here. It's KarlAnthony Towns, $6,700 on FanDuel, 74 on DraftKings. This is a guy who's had big-time issues with foul trouble, but he has had some monster games already. Had a 28-14 against Denver in just 33 minutes. Last 2 games, 27 and 32 minutes, went 17-13, 17-12 with 7 blocks. Got at least 3 blocks in all but 1 game. I mean, he has massive upside. If he can keep from getting in foul trouble, which you tend to think he will, have a better chance of staying out of it against Al Jefferson, who is not the most elusive post player. I mean, he's a guy who's more of a stretch to the floor, take a jumper type of guy rather than bang around in the paint. So KarlAnthony Towns, one of my favorite upside plays at his price tonight.
Yeah, especially because he's just sandwiched right in between Whiteside and Gobert there, so he's probably going to be low owned. Coming off the back-to-back where he just had a monster game, and if you haven't caught on, centers are just dominating against Atlanta. I mean, it's insane with Horford and Millsap down there that they're doing that. But yeah, Towns continues to just get it done. Great tournament play, night in and night out.
Yeah, rookie of the year. Not yet, but he's got my vote right now. I mean, the guy's been insane. Okafor's got something to say about it, but between those two, I mean, maybe we'll have to have him play one-on-one for the rookie of the year, and that will be fun. Either way, Kevin Durant in his narrative game against Washington, everyone's talking about how the Washington fans are cheering for him, all this nonsense. He's disrespected. No one cares about that. It's his hometown. Maybe he plays there, maybe he doesn't. He plays there tonight, and he's got 52 or more DraftKings points in 3 straight games. He looks like the old Kevin Durant. He looks healthy. He looks unstoppable. Washington is allowing more fantasy points to small forwards than anyone else. He just so happens to be, I don't know about LeBron James' opinion on this, but one of, if not the best small forward in all of basketball. So $9,700 on DraftKings compared to $10,400 on FanDuel. Gotta love him on both sides, but his price relative to Russell Westbrook's on DraftKings is one that I know you're looking to exploit.
Yeah, I mean, obviously these two are the top 2 targets on Oklahoma City, but I mean, for $1,100 cheaper, you can get that upside that Westbrook brings with Durant tonight. And I think because small forward is only just a handful of options there, if any, really in that top range, I would rather pay down for a guy like Lowry and go with Durant. I think that's probably the move to go in cash games tonight as well.
Yeah, and I mean, it's Kevin Durant's a guy that I would imagine is going to be the most highly owned of any of the elite players tonight, maybe at any position, due to probably the narrative and all that. But I don't care if he's 100% owned. I'm going to have a ton of Kevin Durant tonight. I'm not saying it's a guarantee that he's the highest scorer, but I don't see much chance of him not being at least top 3 as far as overall production tonight. So, yeah, I'm definitely a big fan. All right, that'll wrap things up here for us today. Find us on Twitter at DF Cafe. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and check out the rest of our NBA content, NFL, and everything else at dailyfantasycafe.com.